Could the Chicago Cubs steal another stud from up north? We talk about it with a very special Friday guest. Next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Sam Olber alongside Matt Cozy. Please support the show by following on your preferred audio platform, and you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are lifelong fans taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's Friday episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jacemedical.com. That's Jase medical.com. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Interesting week. I think it kind of went by really quickly, Matthew, and I'm happy that you're on the show with me, and we have a lot to talk about. I know on the right it says non-tenders and then Burnes, but we're going to start with Corbin Burnes and the Chicago Cubs and the possible links there. And you've been all over it on our Twitter account, so I'm going to hand the keys over to you. Tell me who's reporting what, who's saying what, and then what I'm going to do is, like I always do.
You're going to be a joy killer.
I'm going to be a joy killer. I'm going to be the
Sam
Grinch.
doesn't want Corbin Burnes on the Cubs.
That's not.
He doesn't want Corbin. Just say it.
Don't say that because
just
then
say you don't want Corbin Burnes.
No, because I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning then with 74 DMs telling me I don't even like the team. So that's not true. I love Corbin Burnes, but why don't you tell me the reports and where you're at right now, and then I'll reply and ruin everything.
ESPN's Jesse Rogers put out a piece on Thursday detailing a lot of the Cubs offseason plans, and he name dropped several names that the Cubs are pursuing, which we've actually all heard before, for the most part. Ohtani, Imanaga, Yamamoto, Alonso, Soto, Hoskins. And it's exciting that the Cubs are legitimately in on these players. And at this stage, we have way more than one report on all those individuals. So shout out to Jesse Rogers. The one new name in the piece is Brewers ace pitcher Corbin Burnes. Mm-hmm. The expectation was that the Brewers would listen on Burnes, but ever since Craig Counsell became the Cubs manager last week, the murmurs have increased on the Brewers maybe doing a sell or at least a soft sell for 2024, indicating that they're willing to take a step back with Pat Murphy and whoever else is over there. And you would think of the Orioles, you would think of the Dodgers, you would think of maybe the Mets with David Stearns. But to hear that the Cubs are interested in Corbin Burnes and that the Brewers would be willing to listen from their rival team down south of them is a very unique position to be in. It's unexpected. Why am I to believe that they would at least listen? That's the team that's looking up at the Brewers. Why would I trade a pitcher, even if it is just for 1 year, to that intra-division team? So to hear that is at the very least exciting. Of course, the price would be high, but could it be worth it for that 1 year, especially in free agency if you make some splashes?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's the exact type of guy they need, like you pointed out. However,
it's a top-of-the-line guy. It's exactly who they need.
And I just don't think it's going to happen. And the reason why is because, first of all, these intra-division trades are very far and few between. They're very rare.
I can't even remember the last time one was made.
And the Cubs, especially a blockbuster.
Right.
And the Cubs just took Craig Counsell from the Milwaukee Brewers. So I just think it's one of those things. If the Cubs really wanted Corbin Burnes, like I tweeted out from my account today or on Thursday, they'd be paying 200 cents on the dollar for him. They're going to have to overpay. The Brewers are not going to deal with the Cubs unless they are very certain that they hit a massive home run in the deal. And we know how Jed Hoyer works. He's very strict on market value. He's very shrewd. And, this is the same guy that didn't trade Wilson Contreras a couple deadlines ago because he just didn't think there was a deal that made sense, right?
Mhm.
Like, I just don't think it's going to happen, so I don't want to waste too much time on it. I will say from a baseball perspective, Corbin Burnes did have a down year by his standards. 2021, 2.43 ERA, led the National League, won the Cy Young. 2022, 2.94 ERA. And then this year jumped up to 3.39 with a FIP, field independent pitching, that said he actually was fortunate to have that 3.39. That was up towards 3.81. Now, I'm not saying if they don't get Corbin Burnes that I'm upset about it, but he has been trending a little bit in the wrong direction. But I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think the Cubs might make an offer. The reports that the Cubs are interested is no different than me, being interested in going to Chicago cut tonight and having a nice, beautiful steak. But I'm not going to be able to do that because it's out of my way and it's really pricey. So, I just think that those reports, and of course, the reports that the Brewers are going to listen, of course they're going to listen. They're going to say, all right, I'm listening. Did you say PCA and Horton? No, Jed's going to say, no, I didn't say that. I actually said Canario and Morel.
Okay.
Well, no. We thought you said PCA and Horton, and that's all we're going to do it for. Call us back if you're interested. Like, I just,
right.
I just don't see them finding a middle ground. I think it's much more likely that Baltimore comes in because you got to remember, these two teams match up 14, 15 times a year. They're rivals. Neither team wants to be on the bad end of a deal like that, more so than usual when it's a rival situation. Plus, taking the fact that the Cubs just got Craig Counsell. I think it's the right idea. I would love to see them trade for a major arm. I would just be very, very surprised if it's this one.
The price would definitely be high. It would be a shock. But I'd be happily shocked. And I guess I've cooled off on prices for whatever reason. I know it's the off season, so it's easy to dream, and that's what I want to do, and I'm of course allowed to do that.
Well, yeah.
But I have to say, I'm willing to part with prospects. I know we've been dealing a lot with hypotheticals this week, but I would say anybody excluding Cade Horton.
Wow.
I would trade PCA for Burnes. I would trade Brown.
Wow.
I would trade Alcantara, Wicks, Assad, Triantos, Casey,
Hernandez.
Yeah, who?
Really?
Just naming prospects.
I would not trade PCA.
Yeah, anybody but Horton.
I would not trade PCA for 1 year of Corbin Burnes. I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
I don't, and I don't think that's going to be it. I don't think they're going to want a 1-for-1.
No, it's not going to be. It would be probably 3 prospects.
Yeah, I just think the prospects, their assets are better allocated elsewhere for a different type of thing. Like let's see what happens. Look, the first thing that's going to go, like you said on yesterday's show, is Ohtani. So if the Cubs get Ohtani,
maybe sooner than later, perhaps by Thanksgiving.
No, I hope it's not on Saturday, if you know what I mean.
Oh gosh, that'd be brutal.
Well, you'd have to excuse me.
Well, we both go.
No, we might have to I might bring the equipment or something.
We can always just rejoin.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that Ohtani goes first. If he comes to the Cubs, then maybe you're a little bit more aggressive towards something like that, because now you become kind of almost all in on 24, where it's like, you know what, 1 year of Burnes, that could win us a world championship now that we have Shohei Ohtani. So we'll see what happens with Ohtani. That's going to be the first domino to fall. And, this isn't an Ohtani episode, so I'm not going to go there.
Right,
but I just want to say that every day that goes by, I read more and more buzz about this. I don't know.
It only has increased.
And I don't know, I'm not to the point where I'm saying it's going to happen, but I'm definitely at the point where I'm saying it very, very well could happen. So
yeah. I have optimism that it will. I'm not gonna deal in absolutes, but
yeah, the Burnes thing, I would be shocked with.
Right.
I just, when's the last time, like you said, that type of trade? And
I don't remember.
Let me tell you something. The Brewers don't want to see the Cubs win anything in 2024.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. So we'll see. I definitely think he could be on the move. And hey, listen, even if he is on the move and he doesn't come here, it's still good news for the Cubs.
Be great.
I do think before we get into the next thing, are you at all paying attention to the other teams in the division this offseason? Or are you kind of in the mindset that if the Cubs do this thing right, it doesn't really matter?
My tendency would be to lean towards the latter, but I do think the Cardinals are going to get a big name starting pitcher. So I'm keeping an eye on
Mhm.
them.
I'm keeping an eye on the Cardinals and the Reds. I think those are the two teams that are going to be the closest to our ball club this season.
Okay.
So I'm keeping an eye on them and interesting.
Yeah. I'm not keeping an eye on the Reds, man.
The car the
I
Cardinals.
think the Cardinals are going to get Nola.
Wow. And
I do.
is that just did you like talk to Nola
No,
or
no.
oh
I'm just predicting.
okay, okay. I just think the Cardinals are fascinating because they were so bad last year. Was that a flash in the pan? Because they obviously have I mean,
Yeah.
they have a lot of talent. I mean, Goldschmidt, Arenado,
Ton.
that Walker kid, Nootbaar, Edman. These guys are all really good ball players. If they find a way to just figure out something, they will be a problem. So,
Yeah.
but that's not really for us to worry about. Let Lockdown Cardinals deal with that. Coming up next, I'm not going to talk. Matt is going to talk about
Okay.
all the non-tender stuff, and I'm just going to sit and listen and figure
Well,
out
you're going to have some input, I'm
figure
sure.
out why I came home and rushed and just put this shirt on over my undershirt. I didn't realize it was going to show this much. So,
Oh,
before we
okay.
before we get into that, we're going to talk about that next. But first, this episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. We spend a lot of time talking together, you and I. We get fired up, Matthew, on wins and losses, who starts and who sits. And I'm thankful for that connection we have. But today, I want our conversation to be just a little bit more personal. Whether you are on extended travel, bracing for a major weather event, or limited by yet another supply shortage, you are covered, Matthew, thanks to our partners at Jace Medical. Life-saving antibiotics and a long list of daily medications can be ordered in a 1-year supply. Even ED generics for Cialis and Viagra prescriptions. Go online right now at jacemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use promo code Locked On at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jace. I am thankful for this service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut pills in half to have it. I order most of my daily meds with a year supply. I also ordered an antibiotic kit. I feel secure now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies. I highly recommend this for everyone. If you or someone you love would get some peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily medication, go to jacemedical.com to see if it's offered for you. Remember to use promo code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. We are back here on Locked On Cubs. It's Friday. Matthew, you do your thing, man.
The non-tender deadline is at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, Friday night, Sam, and the Cubs 40-man roster right now is at 40 players. So things are going to happen between the time that we record this, the time that you're listening to this, and 6 Central on Friday night. And anybody that doesn't have a deal yet for 2024 is eligible to be non-tendered. That's in the arbitration pool and also the team control pool, the players that aren't arbitration eligible yet. And so moves are going to be made. And I broke down a lot of these players on Wednesday evening. Did this in my free time, believe it or not. And I got out my spreadsheet on Google Sheets, and I'm starting to break down this roster. And I'm looking at candidates that are going to be dismissed and things like that, and possible trades. So what I have here is a few different categories in terms of who the Cubs could actually non-tender on Friday.
And can we just, for our listeners, just say cut?
Yeah, you are. You become a free agent immediately.
Yeah, I mean, non-tender's a nice way to say they're getting rid of you.
Yeah, and I got a few different levels here. Oh, the other thing is, Sam, the Cubs have a ton of these players. They only have 8 players that have guaranteed deals for 24. So they got a lot of these dudes eligible.
Yeah.
All right, so very likely to be parted ways with is Cody Hoyer and Ethan Roberts, two dudes that have not pitched in a long time due to injury. Not being penalized for injury necessarily, but there's a lot of unknown, and the Cubs have no buffer. They got 40 people on a 40-man roster, so I think that's very likely. However, with those two guys and Brandon Hughes, who I think is also likely to be non-tendered,
sure.
I think some fans, it could cause some ire with them. I do think it's possible that those three return to the organization quickly after,
In the
but
minor
just
league
on
level.
minor league deals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Brandon Hughes, that wouldn't surprise me.
The second tier of players is probably not, but they're discussing it on Clark and Addison.
Patrick Wisdom.
And that's Wisdom and Talkman, Sam.
No,
These guys,
no, no,
yeah. These guys are
no.
due a couple million M's. And again, you're right at 40 players, and you have redundancies on the roster. You have prospects coming up soon. And so I do think that they're talking about these two on a Clark and Addison. However, out of all the players we discussed in this segment, I am most interested in Wisdom. Can he be a power bat off the bench? What's his role going to be under Counsell?
No,
and obviously, I love Talkman.
I don't want Talkman non-tendered. I want him to be the fourth outfielder coming off the bench, pinch hitting late and clutch opportunities for my baseball team. If we're in Game 5 of the NLC in the NLCS, it's a 2-2 series, and we're at Truist Park in Atlanta, and it's tied in the ninth, and he's leading off the pinch hit. You're not telling me you don't feel good he's going to get on first base and start a rally? Remember, in the 10th inning of 2016, it was Kyle Schwarber's base hit. Mike Talkman will get on base and start a rally. Dude, I don't want him non-tendered. And trust me, Craig Counsell doesn't want that either. He saw what Talkman did
you're right.
off Devin Williams. That stuff doesn't grow on trees. I'd much rather have Talkman and his bat off the bench than Wisdom strikeouts.
Okay, well, I like it. And okay, if Talkman gets cut, then maybe do an emergency episode Friday.
And you think they may not? You think they could non-tender him before knowing if they're going to bring back Cody Bellinger?
Possibly, it's possible. It's somewhat likely.
And if it happens, I'm going to be very upset.
And I don't disagree with you.
He's earned the right to be on this baseball team.
Absolutely, he has. Absolutely. And I think it's a great point about Counsell having a front row seat to a lot of good that he did.
Well, because Talkman's a margin guy.
Right.
He helps you win on the margins. You don't just throw that out the window.
You wouldn't have a strong feeling on Wisdom if he was non-tendered?
No.
3 pitchers, right-handers that are unlikely, but I think there is an outside chance. And again, this is 8 names. This is a lot. This is a lot of names, but I'm trying to be thorough.
Oh, sure.
Keegan Thompson, there's a lot of cloudiness and unknown with him.
A lot.
For better or worse.
For worse.
Caleb Killian, who's he can't hit the broadside of a barn. And then unlikely, but he was horrible. His last 10 appearances is Jose Cuas. 6.84 ERA in his last 8 1/3 innings.
He won't get non-tendered. It'll be too bad PR with trading Velasquez. Yeah, right. They won't do that.
So there's 8 names that are in the convos at Clark and Addison.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain.
So I would say I agree.
But you're probably going to see only 3 names.
No, and if I had to pick 3, I'd probably go Roberts, Hoyer,
and Hughes.
Yeah.
I think it's those 3.
Killian's probably a little too young to give up on, especially, that Bryant thing. I think
eventually, though, they need space. They're going to need more space, though.
Thompson's a real candidate, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't believe I'm saying that because last year at this time, I thought he might be the most valuable piece in the Pens. So
Right.
All right, well, coming up next, we're going to talk best and worst of the week. That was very well done, Matthew Cozy. We are back here on Locked On Cubs, and I have a pretty good best of the week, but it's unofficial.
Okay.
And that is on Thursday, I got very close to purchasing a new vehicle, and I don't want to. And my guy over at Mazda is a listener of our program and the Locked On Network. So shout out to him.
Wow.
He's done an awesome job so far.
And that was a coincidence, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And so, I will be seeing him Friday at about 5 or 6 p.m. to see if I could finalize his purchase and get a new car, Mazda CRX-5. So, if it's a red color, I really want it. And
wow, that's flashy.
It is flashy, man. It's time to, you know what I mean? Okay. It's time to show a little something. You know what I mean? I've been kind of, I live below my means a little bit. So,
all right.
Show, take the top down. That's not true. It doesn't have one.
It's a convertible.
Yeah, it's not. That's been my best. So I'll toss it over to you.
My best of the week is going to Arizona for the first time last weekend for Mike Cozy's wedding, my
Yep.
cousin.
Yep.
And just a great event in AZ. I saw Sloan Park. The sky is the bluest that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It was warm there. It was a nice time, and I'd like to go back in March if I could for spring training.
Yeah. My no, that's good. That's good. My worst of the week coincides with the not to get too off topic, but the Illinois basketball team.
Well,
Um,
that's okay.
I was really excited about watching them play and see what type of product they were going to put
Sure.
out on the floor Tuesday night. And I get it. I know, folks. Everyone, Marquette's a great team. I get it. This looks like the exact same team as last year to me, Matt. There's not a lot
Oh,
of offense.
really?
There's not a lot of offense. There's not a lot of scoring. There's not a lot of creativity on this club. And, it seems to me like a 7-9 seed in a first round exit. Maybe I'm being a little too hard on them after just one ball game, but nothing really jumped off the screen. I was expecting a leap from a couple of their seniors. I didn't see that at all. And it just seems like a team that's going to win some games and play NCAA tournament basketball, but a team, you're going to watch in March. You'll be watching with your dad or Kira or someone. You're going to send me a text and go, gosh, this team's really a rough watch. and you're probably going to be right. So, all right. What was your worst?
Well, my worst is, part of me can't believe that this is actually my worst of the week, but
Well,
I am annoyed at coffee chains
here we go.
for not. Can you just fill up the cup, please? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you do this a lot.
Add to the top of the cup. Like, don't give me just 75-80%.
Well, so my
It's
concern.
disappointing.
So I'm going to do a bonus worst of the week. So if you're talking about your coffee, and then before we got on the air, you were drinking a caffeinated beverage.
Right.
So how much
I got
caffeine?
water right now. So.
Well, I would hope so. After you just, you drank enough caffeine to, last me months. Are you how much caffeine do you really need? Are you sleeping at all?
Yeah, I've been sleeping better.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just making sure. I might treat myself tonight. I really believe in moderation.
Okay.
And, I don't like to just do things, snap my fingers in cold turkey. And that's what I did with regular Coca-Cola, as you know. I don't drink it anymore.
Which was amazing, by the way.
And I went a few years without doing it. And Sunday night, I did have one at a wedding. And,
okay.
And I just kind of want another one. So,
nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I may just stop. I mean, Jimmy John's right around the corner has terrific Coke. I guess that's a free plug. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. No.
Sorry about that. There's a lot of other places too. Anyway, all right. Well, this was
Do you like it out of the fountain better or in the fridge?
So I'm in the minority. I like an ice cold can.
Really?
Yeah. I think
all right, we got to close the show, dude.
I think the cans are the best. I'd say can, bottle, fountain in that order.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, and I starting to get thirsty. So, all right. Well, thanks to everybody for listening. Listen, if any news breaks this weekend, hopefully it's not Saturday because me and Matt will be hanging out with a large group of people. Yeah. And if it is, we'll find a way to get it to you. And, maybe Monday we'll have the greatest, baseball talent of all time on our team. Who knows? So,
wow.
Shout out to the everydayers who are with us all 5 episodes throughout the week. And you can become an everydayer by checking us out each and every weekday. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube. And please, guys, smash the like button
right.
for the algorithm. It's really important. It helps us. We are also on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts and streaming on SiriusXM. I'm Sam Olber. He's Matt Cozy. And this is Locked On Cubs.